Konnichiwa, and welcome to the Code of the Cardboard Samurai, a podcast all about Magic the Gathering in Japan. In this podcast, our goal will be to inform people both around and outside of Japan what is going on in the Magic scene here. I'm your host, Ryan Schwenk, the Japan Hobbyist out of Yokohama, and today I'm joined by a good friend of mine from Nagoya, Kevin. So Kevin, let's start off by having you kind of introduce yourself. So tell me a little bit about your personal background and your MTG background.
All right. So, as Brian said, my name is Kevin. I have been living in Japan for my 4th year now. I came from Pennsylvania in the USA, and I've been playing Magic for almost 15 years now.
Wow. What was your first set?
The first set
Like 15 years, that's like what, Invasion or something, or?
Well, no, not that far. So I started off with 7th edition. The 7th edition starter kit was how I got into the game.
Okay.
But the first set I really dug in deep on was Ravnica City of Guilds.
Okay, so that was a good set to get started on then.
Yeah, so my friend who had introduced me to Magic, he had just given me a bunch of his old cards, and he had been playing during Tempest and Fallen Empires and stuff. So we built some 2-color decks, and Ravnica was all about the 2-color guilds. So it was just sort of a perfect mesh to really get me into the game.
So we met in Nagoya. For anybody listening, you might remember that I talked about how I lived in Nagoya for about 6 years, and now you're living in Gifu, or did you move back to Nagoya?
I just moved back to Nagoya last week.
Okay, good. And I was going to ask you about your favorite formats as well. Like, what kept you playing for 15 years? What formats do you really enjoy?
Mostly limited. Because in high school,
do the pre-releases and
yeah, I didn't have a lot of money in high school, so pre-releases were really my only time to play Magic outside of my friend group. And like I said, I didn't have much money, so trying to be competitive and trading and buying cards just wasn't a thing for me at the time.
Yeah.
But with sealed and stuff, they just give you the cards, and I can, put a deck out of those.
In Nagoya, are you kind of an EDH player, would you say?
Yeah, at this point, yeah, I mostly play Commander. But now that I'm back in Nagoya, I can start drafting and stuff again too. Up in Gifu, there were just no drafts going on. You'd have to go to Nagoya for that. And
for anybody that doesn't know about Japan, Gifu is, I don't know. I guess it would be like.
It has a very small.
Like Illinois. Nagoya's like Illinois, maybe, and I don't know. Gifu's like Kentucky.
I mean, it's a very small Magic scene in Gifu.
Yeah.
It's
pretty tiny.
Really, 1 or 2 stores in the area, and the one store next to Gifu Station really only does standard and pre-releases.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you just can't be competitive without putting into a lot of money. And if you're losing, it's not worth it.
Yeah. So the reason why I invited Kevin on today is because he's a big fan of Kaiju and Toho, the company who joined with Wizards of the Coast for Ikoria to make the special Godzilla cards.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So that's our topic for today. We're going to talk about the Kaiju of Ikoria and Toho Studios. So for anybody that doesn't know, what's a Kaiju? Can you explain?
Well, Kaiju literally means giant monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ju means beast.
Yeah.
So that's really how we classify, Godzilla and King Kong and other similar.
And I guess Kai
monsters.
is kind of like monstrous, because they had Kaibutsu was an old Theros mechanic, I believe.
A monstrous, yeah.
Or
You also
monstrosity, I think it was
right,
called.
right. You also have Kaijin, which is
Uh-huh.
like like a monstrous person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see those. You'll see Kaijin used a lot for like Power Ranger
Uh,
monsters
I
and
was gonna
so
say
on.
also One Punch Man. I don't know
I
if you've
haven't seen
seen
One
One
Punch
Punch
Man.
Man. Oh, you gotta watch it. He fights monsters people all the time. Kaijin. I believe that's where you'll hear that word a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So kaiju like is like I said or like I said earlier. I heard that you really like the that scene like the Toho and whatnot. So how long has this been going on? Like when did kaiju become a thing? Has it been around for? Is it like a newer thing? Is it something that came around with Power Rangers? How far does that go
Well,
back?
it goes back to the 50s.
Yeah,
So Godzilla was born
like
because
1954 was the first one, right?
right. So the Tishman that was Toho Studios and the special effects director Eiji
Mm-hmm.
Tsuburaya, they wanted to capitalize on the success of the first King Kong film.
Uh-huh. Which was from like what the 30s, right? The one in
Yeah,
the USA.
but the problem was that with their budget and time constraints, they couldn't do a stop motion monster film like King Kong
Mm-hmm.
was. So they had to be a little extra creative and thought,
Mm-hmm.
well, what if we had someone in a monster suit to do the movements?
Yeah.
And that's basically how Godzilla was born.
So you can thank Japan for the birth of kaiju and monsters and Power Rangers and all that.
Right, but we wouldn't have had it if it weren't for King Kong. So he deserves
Yeah,
a lot of credit too.
yeah. So another question, real quick. What was your first reaction when you heard that Ikoria was gonna have Toho Godzilla monsters in it?
Okay, well, to have to go back a little bit further. So, um, with circumstances as they were, I kind of took a break from Magic for a year. Like
Okay.
I didn't buy any of Magic 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
only
think a lot of people weren't really happy with a lot of the recent sets, to be
well,
honest.
but I just there was a point where I just couldn't keep up anymore. So I sort of
Mm-hmm.
I took a step back during Throne of Eldraine and Theros Beyond Death.
Mm-hmm.
I just I kept up with our friend group and stuff, and I saw
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
spoilers, but I wasn't really invested into like learning the cards or playing the sets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I hear like, oh, by the way, if you buy a box and all that, you get special Godzilla card. And like, oh God, there goes my money.
So you were excited then.
I
You were
was
really happy.
so excited. Like, I want all of these.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great for EDH. Like I said a little bit earlier. I think I played against you in EDH a few times when I was part of the group back in Nagoya, and
Uh-huh.
I just think every EDH player is just gonna go crazy for these.
I mean, and this is part of a genre that I particularly enjoy. So this sort of
Mm-hmm.
mesh between Magic and Tokusatsu series, like,
Yeah.
my heart.
So you feel seen, right? Is that what they say?
Yes, pretty
Yeah,
something like
I feel
that.
seen. I feel noticed. Yeah. So let's go over some of the cards. I
Yeah,
think we have like 19 total cards
yeah,
that they made.
19 total cards with Toho monster art.
So let's go over each of these. Let's talk about the actual magic card itself first,
Okay.
and then after that we'll read over the information about it, and then we'll talk about the actual Toho monster, and then I want to kind of talk about like its history and like the movies and stuff like that. So kind of give people a little bit of knowledge about Japan or the Japanese kaiju scene
Yeah,
through
let's
the
do it.
years. So the first three cards I think we should talk about is Godzilla. You have to, right?
Yeah, you don't talk about the whole franchise without bringing up the
Yeah.
King of Monsters himself.
There we go. So the first one that we have, Godzilla King of Monsters. He's 3 mana, red and a green. Legendary 7/3 with trample, and lethal damage dealt to creatures you control is determined by their power rather than their toughness.
Yeah, that's a very unique ability to be seen
So
at
I
this
don't
set.
I don't get this. Is that like kind of like if
So
he has 7 power, it deals damage to his power?
More or less. So you know how cards like Arcades, they do damage
Yeah,
equal
it
to their
changes the.
toughness,
Yeah,
and it's sort of the reverse where it's not about damage you deal, but damage you have to take.
yeah,
So the greater the power of creatures you control is, the harder it is for them to die from damage.
yeah.
So
Okay,
Godzilla being a
the higher the power.
7/3, it has to take 7 damage or more
Mm-hmm.
to die.
So I'm guessing you need seven. So like, if you're gonna burn it out, you need
7 points of damage, right?
7 points of damage.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like a -3 effect will kill Godzilla,
Okay.
but something like a lightning bolt, you're gonna need a really big lightning bolt to take him
Yeah.
down.
And I think if we talk about past Godzilla movies, they probably tried to kill it with lightning in the past, and it just made him angrier.
Yeah, well, so going to his history, um,
Yeah.
the origin was that like we just finished up World War II and the
Yeah.
atomic bomb.
Yeah.
So Godzilla was sort of a follow-up to that, kind of that storyline where
He was
Godzilla
birthed
was
from the radiation, right?
right, like he was an ancient being that
Yeah.
was awoken from the atomic bomb testing,
Uh
and the
huh.
radiation kind of just mutated him to be an extremely powerful creature.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, 1954. I think we said. Yeah, that was like the first time he showed up.
Right.
The magic card that he is mirroring is called Zalorthra. I think is how you say it.
Yeah,
Strength
Zalortha,
incarnate.
Strength Incarnate.
So there's three Godzillas. This is the first one. How do you feel about Godzilla, King of the Monsters, being a Gruul, monster, a
I
7/3? Is it a
I'm
good match?
I mean, red green is a perfect color combination for Godzilla.
So this is a win flavor wise.
I think so.
Do you
So
like the abilities as well?
I mean, you mean as it fits the character?
Yeah.
I think so. I think it. Um, so another thing that comes up a lot is the uh, for the humans trying to
Mm-hmm.
defend themselves against Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
The strongest weapon we have is the atomic bomb,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work against Godzilla because the atomic bomb was what created him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's sort of the idea that the weapon that um, made him stronger also gives
Mm-hmm.
him the ability to protect himself from that weapon.
His power. Yeah. Yeah. I think
Right.
that's really good flavor. However, man, he's got flame breath, or I guess I don't know, laser breath or
Atomic
whatever.
breath. It's atomic breath.
Atomic breath. I'm kind of disappointed he doesn't have like pay 2 mana, deal like 1 point of damage. He should have a ping effect. I think that would be like so on flavor to give Godzilla a ping effect. Even 3 mana for like 1 damage. Just any kind of ping damage would be great. Do you think so?
I mean, I think with any card that refers to another character, you can always do more.
Yeah.
But
Once
for the
they
card,
plan this, I mean,
as is, I think
yeah,
it's perfectly acceptable.
yeah, it's good. It's acceptable. Not perfect, but it's acceptable. So the other one. So again, we got two more Godzillas. There's
Yeah.
Godzilla Primeval Champion. He's
Right.
7 mana and a green. Trample 11/11. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's
And
huge.
then cycling for 2 mana, one in a green. And
Hmm.
it says when you cycle a Godzilla Primeval Champion, or the MTG name is Titanith Rex, you can put a trample counter on a target creature you control, which basically gives a creature trample.
Yeah, but it gives it permanently. So,
Yeah, so it's not like an enchantment. It can't unless the creature dies.
right, you can't
So,
take off the counter by normal means.
so I think we should probably talk about like these three different Godzillas here. They all look kind of different. They look like they're maybe from different eras. Like the first one, Godzilla King of Monsters. Like which era of Japanese, Godzilla cinema would you say he's from?
Um, I'd say it's from the first batch of movies.
So
Um,
like the 60s and 70s.
yeah, something like that. Like just very
And
classic look to him.
yeah, he's got no chest. He doesn't do arm reps, it looks like. He's got to build that. He's like me. I got that Godzilla body though. When you get to like 40, that's what you start looking like. Yeah. So Godzilla Primeval Champion, he's bulky, he's
No,
big,
he's
like
huge.
he's huge. What era of Japanese Godzilla cinema do we see him from? Do you think?
I mean, I might put him more recently,
Like in the 90s or like 2000s maybe?
like maybe the 2000s.
So like we had like what Godzilla Final Wars, hilarious and great
Like
movie. I love it.
these movies have been made for years and years.
Yeah,
But looking at the Wikipedia page,
yeah,
Godzilla Final Wars was 2004,
yeah,
and Shin Godzilla didn't come out 2016.
yeah,
The Legendary Pictures Godzilla movie didn't come out 2014. So we
yeah,
have this like 10-year gap
yeah. So this is
between
like the
movies.
2000s Godzilla, I would say.
That's my feeling with the size, because they want to bring him back, show him, hey, we have this really cool giant monster that you guys haven't seen in years.
But as far as like on flavor, I mean, do you like this one as well?
Yeah,
The 1111
you know,
trample.
just the idea of here's a giant monster that will, wreck your city and anything in its path.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of off topic, but seeing all these giant monsters in here, I really wish we had like heartless summoning in Magic again, which like makes all
Reduce
your
the
creatures
cost.
cost 2 less to play. Yeah,
Yeah,
really, I want to play him for cheap. Just
like
99 trample for like 5.
I mean,
You
like
know what I mean?
what else? I mean, we got what Goreclaw like a couple years ago, right?
The
Goreclaw Terror of Calcisma, the 4/3 bear that
Oh
reduces
yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah.
cost
He
of
makes it
your big
cheaper too,
monsters.
right?
Yeah, all your
But you can
creature
only
with
play
powers.
one.
No, all your creatures with power 4 or greater cost 2 less.
Yeah, but you can only play one. You can't stack the thing to make it cheaper. So
Oh, well, I mean, you have to have other effects too,
yeah.
but
But yeah, I like this one. I would say this is also kind of like a meta, or not a meta. It's like a flavor win.
yeah,
It matches his typing really well. In
right.
the 2000s, I kind of feel like the fights got bigger and better as technology got better, and he got
Yeah.
stronger. So I like how this kind of matches him.
Hmm.
All right, so the third Godzilla we have is Godzilla Doom Inevitable,
Yeah,
which
mono
is
red.
Yadaro Wandering Monster is the mirror in his MTG universe. So he's a dinosaur turtle here. So yeah, the first one is just a dinosaur. The King of Monsters is a dinosaur. He's a dinosaur beast as Primeval champion. Now he's a dinosaur turtle. So it's Trample Haste. It's 5 and 2 red in the casting cost. Cycling for 2 red mana. And
Yep.
this is when you cycle Godzilla Doom Inevitable. You can shuffle it into your library from your graveyard, and if you've cycled it 4 times in the game, you can put it on the battlefield from your graveyard instead.
Yeah, this guy's sweet.
Yeah, so I guess you play multiples. If you play 4 of them, you just have them all in your opening hands, like boom, 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 draw cards and just put it
Yeah,
into play as soon as
right,
possible.
right. Pretty much. It just keeps coming back.
So as far as era wise, would you say this is kind of like the Hollywood Godzilla?
No, I think I'd put it toward like 80s and 90s.
Really?
Well, so the thing with most of the Godzilla movies is that he almost never dies.
Yeah.
The very end of the movie is almost always Godzilla returns to the ocean
Yeah.
until another threat threatens Japan
Yeah.
or threatens the Earth.
Yeah.
So just the
true.
idea of which I think matches really well with the cycling ability, where instead of staying in your graveyard, it goes back to your deck for you to draw again
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, so it's
And
like
what's
more like the Japanese style.
Yeah, and, you do it enough times, all of a sudden he's on the battlefield.
And he's like slumbering slowly back into the water like a turtle, right?
Right, right.
Okay, I can see that. What about the coloring though, as like a red card, a mono red card? Does this work?
Yeah, I mean the haste part definitely puts it in red.
He comes when he's needed.
Yeah, or like when he comes at you immediately.
Yeah.
There's no pause.
Yeah, and then he walks slowly back to the sea afterwards, like you
Right.
said. Yeah. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I don't know if I'd really. I know he's a green monster. I don't know if I would see him as a red monster, but the picture itself kind of reminds me of like the stuff from like the Hollywood movie, like the newer ones, one with like what's another
Legendary
again,
pictures?
and
Yeah. I
yeah,
can
and
see
Bryan
that.
Cranston. So
I can see that.
all right, so Godzilla's done. Let's move on to some of the other monsters in this set.
Okay.
Do you want to read the next one?
Sure. Next we have Anguirus, Armored Killer, known in the Ikoria world as Gem Raiser.
Okay.
4 mana, 3 colors and a green.
Uh
It's
huh.
a beast with Mutate for 1 green.
Uh huh.
It's a 4/4 with Reach and Trample, and the text says when this creature mutates, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls.
Yeah. So whenever you put this on top of something, or something gets put on top of it, you get to destroy an artifact or enchantment.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. If you use a mutate ability and put it on
Mhm.
this creature, it'll
So
have that effect.
so mutate is only in Ikoria, sadly. So
Right.
this effect is definitely pushed. Um,
More than a little bit. It's also just fine as a 4/4 for 4 mana. Like that's very efficient.
Yeah, and I like the reach and trample. I love the picture with like the what is it? The jet planes, the jet fighters flying around.
Oh, yeah.
All of these monsters should have reach or flying. I think they can just swipe it out of the sky. You know what I mean?
If we had to say, all these monsters would be like 6/6 or more, but we have Anger's only
Yeah.
a 4/4. But
Yeah.
can't do everything.
So what history do we know about Angurius? I remember him. I've seen him in a couple of movies.
Yeah, Anguirus has come up a couple of times. Out of the Godzilla movies, Anguirus is the second to appear next to Godzilla in 1955. Godzilla raids again. The design is based around the Ankylosaurus dinosaur,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
which has a big heavy shell and the hammer on the end of his tail. Although in this picture you see a lot more of the spikes.
Mm-hmm.
Anguirus can move very quickly because of its body, and is
Mm-hmm.
very, very durable. Um, he first appears to fight Godzilla,
Mm-hmm.
but in later movies he ends up being Godzilla's ally. So you'll see him appear when Godzilla fights Gigan and Godzilla vs. Gigan, and the very first Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla movie.
I want to say when he first fought against Godzilla, like Godzilla beat him by like putting him on his back because he's like basically a turtle that can't turn over. He's got all the spikes. I remember I used to watch all this stuff. All this stuff used to be on like reruns on TV, like in the summertime, like on Spike TV or whatever back in the USA.
Sure.
So, but this
Yeah.
guy, I've seen him before. I know him. I just can't remember exactly what movie I saw him in. So,
But he comes up a lot. So
yeah, he's a good standby, we could say.
right.
So how about the typing and the coloring? You like this?
Uh,
Mono green?
I think Mono Green is good. Trample was good.
Being able to destroy enchantments and artifacts like airplanes?
He, I think you can justify it. It feels a little bit
Okay.
off to me, just because the Toho universe doesn't really have stuff like
Magic.
right, artifacts or
Artifacts,
enchantments to destroy, and like even when Anguirus fought Mechagodzilla,
Yeah.
like he held his own,
Yeah.
but he got his jaw broken by Mechagodzilla.
Ugh. Ouch. Yeah, they always
Yeah.
get their jaws broken or their arms broken.
It's a pretty messy fight between giant monsters.
Yeah, it's street rules. Yeah. All right, so yeah, I think it's all right as far as like flavor wise.
Yeah.
Next one, I'll do the next one. So next one we have Rodon. Rodon's pretty popular. I think a lot of people know him. So he's
Yeah.
Rodon, Titan of Winged Fury.
Yep.
He's a Jeskai creature. He has a blue, red, and a white only in his casting cost.
Only 3 mana.
Yeah, only 3 mana. His MTG name is Vadrok Apex of Thunder. So he's an elemental dinosaur cat. Okay. So he's got Mutate 1, Hybrid Azorius, and a red. and he's got flying and first strike.
Mm-hmm.
And it says when this creature mutates, you may cast target non-creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. So, okay, I can kind of see this here. I'm not sure about. Okay, first, before we talk about if we like it or not, background.
Yes.
What do we know about Rodan?
So Rodan first appeared in the movie Rodan in 1956. He doesn't show up with Godzilla until
So he's,
the movie.
so he's like the third one, basically. He's like the third monster, right?
Actually, Mothra showed up before.
Okay, really?
Mothra shows up after Rodan, but Mothra shows up in the Godzilla movie before Rodan does.
Okay.
Yeah, so Rodan didn't show up with Godzilla until 1964, with the first appearance of King Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they appeared together in that movie, but before that, Rodan had his own movie. And fun fact, the Japanese name is Radon, but they changed the name to Rodan, reversing the O and the A letters, to avoid confusing it with the element Radon.
So that's your, what do you get, Scott Pilgrim moments right there.
Yeah, that's a fun fact.
Pakuman. Yeah, sorry, bad joke. If anybody's seen that movie. Explain the Japanese and the English. Like I was going to say, it's a dinosaur cat. It's an elemental dinosaur cat. As far as typing, is this a win? Is this okay?
I mean, he's definitely a dinosaur.
I like the flying. Yes.
I mean, yeah, and he's very fast, so I think first strike is very fitting.
And he comes out of I want to say he comes out of a volcano or something usually. So I kind of understand the elemental part. I don't know about the cat though.
I mean, I think that's just a factor of Vadrock being part cat.
I think it should have been like an elemental dinosaur bird. Would that have been strange?
I think elemental dinosaur would have been more on point.
And another thing is, I don't know if I like the first strike. I think this would have been better with haste.
Okay, I can see that. Or if you just add haste, you have blue for flying, red for haste, white for first strike. I can see that
would have worked. I mean, it's a mythic, and it's a legendary, so it's not like you're gonna be playing a lot of these.
I mean, it's also 3 different colors of mana to cast, so that's not exactly easy for a lot of decks.
Another one. So speaking of color-wise, is this a Jeskai card to you, or does the coloring feel correct?
The ability is, fits the Jeskai color combination, but I mean, Rodan. There isn't much to say about Rodan, unfortunately. He's just mostly a giant flying dinosaur in most of the movies.
I think this would be better as a Grixis card, to be honest, because it's getting stuff back from the graveyard, which is more Grixis, I would think.
But non-creatures tend to be very more of a Jeskai theme, as we saw in Tarkir.
It's a non-creature card. Sorry, I thought it was a creature card. Sorry.
No, non-creatures.
Non-creature card. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of removal that you could be playing in Grixis as well. So.
Sure.
But. All right, next one. You can do the next one.
All right, Mothra,
one of the most
Supersonic Queen.
Ones. Yeah.
One of Toho's most popular monsters after Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And Mothra has the second most Godzilla movie appearances after Godzilla. So, very well known in the Kaiju community. Anyway, Mothra, Supersonic Queen. Ikoria card, Luminous Broodmoth. 4 mana, 2 white, creature insect, 3/4 flying. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. This is a powerful card.
Yeah. So, history. Let's do the history first.
All
you said it was like the second one to appear?
Yeah, so Mothra's first movie appearance is in the movie Mothra, 1961. But Mothra shows up in 1964, 3 years later, in Mothra versus Godzilla.
Uh-huh. So it's
Yeah,
a
and
standalone.
yeah, it started off as a
And
standalone, and then they decided to put her in the Godzilla universe,
yeah, yeah.
so to speak. Yeah, so
So yeah, how
so Mothra is a interesting, interesting monster. Um,
mm-hmm.
Often she's found with two priestesses.
Uh-huh. The little tiny girls, right?
Yeah, the tiny girls is meant to like speaking for Mothra to the
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Unfortunately, in many of the movies, Mothra ends up dying in battle,
Yep.
but
Yep.
there's usually like one or two larvae left behind to grow up into
Yeah.
the next Mothra for a future movie.
Yep. Yep. So that's I mean, let's talk about like, the flavor here and the,
Uh,
the the typing and everything. How do you feel? Is this good? Is this bad?
it is so on point. It's
Yeah,
so
this
on
is
point.
perfect.
Uh, I mean, the ability is a little bit widespread for the monster,
Mm-hmm.
but the idea that, when it dies, the larva left behind will grow up to be Mothra sort of has the
Yeah.
same idea of start off without flying, and now you are able to fly sometime
Yeah.
later.
I love it. I love
So
it. It's a perfect card. I feel like this is like the first card that they probably designed for the set, and then like everything else went downhill from there.
it, I mean, whoever was on the team for this, I think they did a very good job with,
Yeah. This
having
is the
Luminous
best
Broodmoth.
kaiju. And you've heard the combo, right? With Solemnity.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's been a number of combos regarding
So like basically,
Mothra and Solemnity.
so basically, Solemnity doesn't allow creatures or players to get counters
Counters.
on it, and you have that in play. You play this, and then you sack something else, and then stuff just keeps coming back and back and back and back. So like
Right. So
Croxa
so Mothra
or
will
whatever.
bring the creature back, because if it didn't have flying,
Yeah.
but
So
Solemnity
Croxa
stops
is an
it.
auto win. That just
But
blows my mind. Sorry.
it, the it's not though. If your opponent runs out of cards in hand, they can't discard and take damage.
Yeah, if they don't have any cards, it's 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage.
Wh-
If they don't have
Oh,
anything in hand.
oh, wait. I thought if they
If
discarded
they
a
can't,
non.
if they discard a land, or if they can't discard anything. Yeah, let me bring up Croxa real
Oh,
quick.
okay.
Croxa, what does
Maybe I
Croxa
misunderstood.
do? Croxa hunger. There we go. What does he say? So Croxa. There we go. So you have to sacrifice it unless it
They
escapes. When he
didn't
enters the
discard a
battlefield or
non.
attacks, each opponent discards a card, and then each opponent who didn't
Oh,
discard a non-land card loses 3 life.
okay. I misunderstood the ability. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an instant win if they don't have any way to get rid of that
Right.
combo. So
Or if it's Uro, you instantly lose.
yeah, you just draw your deck.
Right.
But I mean, I guess yeah. You just
In,
do
in
that and
in any case,
anyways. So let's move on to the next card. I don't want to spend. So this is the next card kind of goes along with this mysterious egg.
yeah.
Like you said, whenever Mothra dies,
There's
she leaves behind something. So
yeah.
the English, I don't. This is Mothra's giant cocoon. Is that
Right.
correct?
Yeah. So this card is one of three cards that will only show up in Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah. There is no
I
English
love
text
the
for.
art.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Um.
So you can get it in Japanese packs anywhere around the world. So it's
Right.
not only in Japan.
In well, also from the collector's boosters, you can
Okay.
open a Monster Giant Cocoon, but you will never. There is no English printing of Monster Giant Cocoon.
Gotcha. Now with the alternate art, at least.
Yeah, with this art, you will only find it with Japanese text.
Yeah. So it's a 1 mana 0/2. It's an egg
Yeah,
creature, and when this creature mutates, you put a +1/+1 counter on it.
yeah. It
Yeah.
I think it's on point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Flavor wise, it's good.
Mothra herself does not have mutate, so you can't mutate the mysterious egg directly into Mothra.
Yeah.
But the idea of it will grow and get bigger,
Yeah. And this
I
gets
think it's
bigger and
fine.
bigger. I don't know if I like it as an artifact.
It's not an
Maybe it could have
artifact.
been.
It's just colorless.
Was it colorless? Okay, it's a colorless card.
It's not an artifact, but it's colorless.
So you play it in Eldrazi. No, who would do
Uh,
that? Nobody.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So next one, you want to do Giadora?
All right, Ghidorah, King of the Cosmos.
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite card of the series. Anyway, Ghidorah, King of the Cosmos, 5 mana, 2 colorless plus green, blue, and red. Legendary creature, Beast Elemental Dinosaur. Oh yeah. 6/6 with flying and trample, and it says whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card into the battlefield or into your hand. Mutate cost is 3, red-green hybrid, and blue-blue. Like, this card is sick. Oh.
And Illuna, Apex of Wishes is the name.
Right, that's the Ikoria monster is Illuna.
So let's talk about Ghidorah real quick. What do we know about Ghidorah?
Alright. So Ghidorah is the 3-headed monster.
Yeah. Absolute badass. Yes.
Yeah. So the origin of Ghidorah was based partly off of the Greek mythology's Hydra, as well as Japanese mythology's Yamato Orochi. You know, both monsters having many heads. Yamato Orochi having...
Yeah.
Yeah, Yamato Orochi has 8 heads specifically. But that's really, but for 1960 movie technology, it's really hard to have that many heads. So they cut it down to
they had to use the wires to kind of move those heads all around.
Yeah, and costume design and stuff. So they cut it down to 3 heads, no arms.
Yeah.
But he has
wings probably.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, his wings are the.
Well, he probably had the arms up inside the other heads, right?
I think one of it is wires, but sure.
Yeah. Maybe the early versions.
Maybe.
So he's very cool. 6/6 flying trample. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, for base cost of 5 mana, like that's already very efficient.
Yeah. That's
like
scary.
you don't get 5 mana 6/6 in general, and this guy also flies and tramples.
Yeah. And it has the mutate ability too. Which will give something flying and trample. The second ability, exile a card from your library until you exile a non-land card and put it in the battlefield. So
when this creature mutates, you get a free card, basically.
Yeah.
Like that's also really powerful.
So non-land permanent. So like you put another big creature right into play then.
Right. So if, for example, you mutate Ghidorah. And you have, one of the Godzilla monsters on top of your library. He goes straight on the battlefield, or to your hand if you wanted to. But
who wants to do that?
Yeah, right. I guess
get that 11/11 straight into play.
Right, exactly. Like that. Like that's terrifying for most opponents.
Or an Emrakul, or an Ulamog, right?
Yeah, there's so many nasty things you can do to your opponent with Ghidorah.
Yeah. So, flavor-wise, is this a win? Is this good? Is this a match? Do you see Ghidorah as a tamer creature?
It's hella terrifying, that's for sure.
Again, I think it's more of a Grixis creature.
Really? Like, where do you see?
Like coming from space and stuff like that.
I mean, space really isn't so much a black specific thing.
I want to say it's space, more like a time-space monster, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ghidorah did
from another
come from
dimension.
Space.
So he came in 1960s as well, as far as his background.
1964 was his first movie, literally Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. And he was defeated because he was fighting. It was 3 against 1: Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra versus King Ghidorah.
Yeah, you need to have one for each head, basically. Those heads are nasty.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even kill him. He flew away from Earth after that fight.
He had to lick his wounds, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, Beast Elemental Dinosaur, does that work? Do you see it as a beast?
Dinosaur for sure.
Like you said, he came from Hydra, like Orochi and stuff like that.
That was the origin of it. But he's not growing any more heads.
Yeah,
So I
Yeah,
wouldn't
true,
call,
but it's
I
two
wouldn't call
heads.
it a. I mean, certainly Hydra
Hydra
inspired,
elemental. Yeah.
but not a true Hydra in that sense.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Like I think the coloring, I mean, the ability is definitely Timur,
Yes, is
but
that
like as
the
far as like how I see King Ghidorah, I kind of see him more as like a Grixis type creature. It's just like terrifying, like you said. All right, next one, okay?
yeah? Go for it.
All right, now this guy I know. I've seen him in a bunch of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Gigan, Cyber Claw Terror, and his MTG counterpart is Garuda, Doom of Death. That's right,
Yeah.
Depths. So it's 4 and 2. I guess we could say 2 Dimir hybrid mana, and it has companion. So the companion's where you can play this only if you meet the special. How can I say?
Deck conditions.
Special conditions. There we go.
Yeah.
So it says your starting deck contains only cards with even converted mana costs. Now, isn't the companion thing kind of like an EDH card? Like it's outside of
Kind
your
of.
game, or do you
Right.
have to
So
show this right away?
yeah. So if your deck meets the conditions,
Yeah.
you review the companion card from your sideboard.
Okay.
Yeah. So companion cards they have to be in your side if you want to use it as a companion. They
Yeah.
have to be in your sideboard.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just play it as one of the regular cards in your deck just fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm confused about that. I'll have to learn more about that later.
Yeah, that's not for this podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, it says when Gigan or Garuda enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. You put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control.
Correct.
So I remember when I was like a kid, I had VHS tapes. I mean, that's probably way before your time.
No, I
But
grew up on VHSs. I'm not that young.
okay, so like I had Godzilla versus Megalon, which was it was kind of like some kind of wasp monster. I don't know if it was even a wasp, but it was some kind of
Right.
insect sort of thing.
Yeah,
And then Gigan was actually in that one as well. So it
that's
was like
right.
Gigan and Megalon versus Godzilla and I think Jim Jaguar or something like
Yeah,
his name. Is like some
Jet Jaguar
Jet
was in that
Jaguar.
movie as well. Correct.
Yeah, it's like a robot. It looked kind of like it's like a rip off of Ultraman, basically.
What?
That's what I thought he was. Because he even like crossed his hands to become big, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but anyways, that was like my first exposure to Gigan. Gigan's always been one of the coolest. He was also, I think, in Final Wars. They replaced his claws with like chainsaws, and I
Yes,
was like, oh, that's
that's
just so
right.
cool.
That's right.
So cool.
They definitely gave him some upgrades over the course of
Yeah.
the years.
So
Yes.
he's a cyborg space monster. You
Correct.
say, right?
Yeah. So
In
Godzilla
the
versus Gigan was 1972. Godzilla
Yeah.
versus Megalon was 1973. So it's very
Okay.
close together.
Yeah, they wanted to recycle him before his suit deteriorated.
Yeah. So yeah, they brought him. Yeah, they brought him back for Megalon.
Yeah.
Cyborg space monster. He has a buzzsaw down the front of his chest.
Yeah, I remember he'd pull Godzilla into him and like cut him up. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
He's a nasty
Yeah.
monster.
He was one of the coolest enemies, I thought. So yeah, he's a demon kraken in the MTG universe. So how do you feel about the typing here?
All right. So Gigan. Uh,
Yeah, does it match it?
I think if it was like an artifact creature, it'd be much closer.
Mm-hmm.
Just given the, how he is built.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I mean, I think creature-wise, we're not gonna have a lot of clean matches just because the game is for Ikoria first.
Yeah.
But I think the name is great, Cyberclaw Terror. I
Mm-hmm.
think blue-black is a good color combination for Gigan.
No, I think I totally agree with the artifact. You know, you can have a blue-black artifact creature. I think
Yeah,
that would totally work.
but I mean, also just look, but also like look at the text box. Like
Mhm.
legendary creature Demon Kraken is a lot of characters.
Yeah.
So putting a legendary artifact creature, you have to cut it down to like maybe demon or kraken.
Well, you say that, but then we look at Gyodora, and it was Beast Elemental Dinosaur. He had
Yeah,
three
but
types. It could be Artifact Demon Kraken. Come on. Yeah. But
But anyway,
okay.
I think the each player mills 4.
Hmm.
I think that's a very much of the meat hook
I love
or
that.
chainsaw flavor of just cutting your brain out.
I'm really excited about that card. Just that's an awesome ability. And
It's a
you can
very
put a
cool
creature into
ability.
play. I
Like
would
6 mana 6/6 is
Yeah.
strong by itself. Like I'd
Yeah.
play that. But this, you literally have put a creature from any graveyard onto your side of the battlefield, just so long as it has an even mana
Yeah.
cost. That's good. I think that's really strong.
I want to blink this all day long.
Oh no,
Just put all my cards into
dude.
play.
Uh,
Yeah. Give it what was I mean, if you're playing EDH like this with like the what was that 6 mana guy with the soul bond? You know,
Deadeye Navigator,
yeah, just 1 mana, right? To blink
dude.
it. That's just so
It's 2 mana.
nasty.
But still,
It's 2 mana.
that's really
Yeah.
strong. That's
Yeah.
so really strong.
All right. Next card you can do if you want.
Aha! All right, Kissen Heiki, Mecha Gojira.
Okay. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Mechagodzilla.
the my approximate translation is the deciding weapon, Mecha Godzilla,
Okay.
based off of Crystalline Giant, 3 mana, 3/3 artifact giant. Uh, Huge text box.
Yeah.
At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose a kind of counter at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't have on it from among Flying, First Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, Vigilance, and +1/+1. Put a counter of that kind on Crystalline Giant. In simpler terms, beginning of your upkeep, give it a random ability or a +1/+1 counter if it doesn't have that ability already.
I love it. I love it. Sorry, I'm so excited.
It's-
Mechagodzilla's like probably my my favorite character, maybe my second favorite character in the entire Godzilla universe.
He's another popular recurring character.
Yeah.
First appearing in 1974 in the movie Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla.
Was that the one with like the
for-
monkey space people?
Um,
I think I've seen that one.
it might be a different movie.
Yeah, because he's shown up
But-
later, and other people just had him to like fight Godzilla, right?
Yeah, so when Mechagodzilla first shows up, he looks like Godzilla, with the
Uh-huh.
scaly body and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And Anguirus, being his friend, gets really confused when
Uh-huh.
when he gets into a fight with Godzilla. But then the real Godzilla shows up, and Atomic breaths the disguise away,
Yeah.
revealing that this is a robot.
Eh.
Yeah, that's a basic story.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so flavor wise, good, bad.
Oh
How
my!
does this?
I think it's good.
This is perfect. Like this is like
Yeah.
next to Mothra. It's like so good because Mechagodzilla has all those like hidden weapons everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really part of the character design. He's just equipped with like missiles
Yep.
and lasers
Yep.
and stuff.
Yeah, that the
To fight
drill
Godzilla.
hands or something, right?
Yeah, like whatever the movie wants to give him.
Yeah. So this is
Like,
amazing.
Like even in 1993 in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2,
Uh
Mechagodzilla combines with the airship Garuda to fight
huh.
Godzilla. So
Wow.
he literally takes on this warship to fly.
That's funny.
So yeah.
No, another thing I really like about this, it's 3 mana, and like it's not legendary, so you can play 4 Mechagodzillas in your deck, and that's just amazing. I want to send all my Mechagodzillas at you.
Oh my goodness.
That's so much fun.
No, this is a funny. It's gonna be I think the ability's gonna be messy to keep track of.
Yeah, you have to. Hopefully,
Like,
they give us like tokens or something, right?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be like an Amonkhet where you have the like exert punch out
counters.
tokens and
Yeah.
stuff. So you're gonna have ability counters to come with most of the packs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, if you have those on hand, you'll be able to like stack them on top.
Mm-hmm.
But Like he can do a lot of different things.
Yeah. So, okay, Crystalline Giant. Let's move on to the next one. I don't want to spend too much of your time. We got a couple more creatures, I think, and then let's try to speed through the
Yeah, we
next.
have.
I'll do the
Okay,
next
sure.
two. So the
All right.
next two, they're both the same ones. King Caesar, Ancient
Mm-hmm.
Guardian. I remember this guy. He kind of reminded me of like a Kung Fu King Kong, kind
Yeah,
of.
you are not completely wrong.
Yeah, so I remember him like I think he showed up in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla when Godzilla was
Yeah, that
losing
yeah,
to Mechagodzilla. He kind of helped out Godzilla, I believe.
right. Yeah. Mechagodzilla and King Caesar showed up for the first time in the same movie.
And you said that this was based on Okinawa's statues. It's like an
Yeah,
Okinawa creature, kind of.
yeah. So Okinawa has Shisa statues, which
Mm-hmm.
are like lions,
Mm-hmm.
very similar to the Chinese style, where you have the lion statues in front of the entrance of
Mm.
temples and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So very similar design there.
I don't know. I kind of always thought he was kind of like a monkey. I don't never thought him as a cat, like a cat monkey. Probably would have been a little bit better, maybe. So the first one we have King Caesar, Ancient Guardian.
Right.
His mirror is Huntmaster Liger, and
Hmm.
has mutate for 2 and a white mana, and says whenever this creature mutates, other creatures you control get +X until the end of turn, where X is the number of times that creature has mutated. So basically, he's like an anthem effect when you mutate.
Right.
And
Right.
then
Exactly.
and it's a 3/4. It's a decent body. And this is the
Right.
uncommon version of him. And then uh
The
how can I
big
say,
boy.
the big version of him, there's a Mardu version. King Caesar Awoken Titan is
Hmm.
one red, white, and a black, and it has mutate with 2, and then the I guess we say the Rakdos hybrid color, and then white white. He has double
Yep.
strike, and when this creature mutates, it deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls, and you gain 4 life. I like those abilities.
Yeah. I mean, the ability is definitely very fitting for Mardu.
Like the life
Very
gain.
powerful creature.
Yeah, the life gain and the damage. But like, just to jump ahead here, I think it might have been a better flavor for like Naya, because I kind of see him as like an island jungle type, deity sort of thing. I don't really see him
Sure.
as evil with like, I don't see him as having a black in his color. So
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, if I look at the Mardu clan from Tarkir, you're
mm-hmm.
very combat oriented.
Yeah, the double strike, the double
I mean,
strike,
I
I
guess
think works because he's like a kung fu, like I
sure.
said. So he's a fighter and he fights real
Eh,
quickly.
Right, and one of his abilities is that he can absorb beam attacks through his right eye and then return them through his left eye.
Wow, I don't remember that at all.
So I mean, so that kind of goes with the his mutation ability of dealing damage and gaining the life back. It sort of just
Yeah,
redirects that damage. So
the lightning helix ability.
you're right. So I think that's a really interesting way to parallel Snapdack's Apex of the Hunt by making him King Caesar.
So when they
I thought it
mutate,
was
they get
interesting.
all those abilities, right? So like it gets the
Right.
double
So
strike and the
if
ability to do 4 damage.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So regardless of you put the card below or above the creature you're
Mm-hmm.
mutating, it will have the triggered ability and the double strike.
Gotcha. All right. Let's move on to the next one real quick. Your turn. I
Violante,
love
plant beast
Violante.
form. I just watched this movie yesterday.
I saw this back
So,
when I was like in elementary school. Yeah.
Alright,
So
so Violante, 2 colorless mana, white, black, green. Legendary creature, Cat Nightmare Beast.
mm,
5/5 Death Touch Lifelink. When this creature mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. The 7 mana mutate ability, 4 mana, white green hybrid, black black. Death the right apex of death is the Ikoria counterpart.
so this was a newer Godzilla movie.
Right, Violante came in 1989.
So this is like during
Uh,
the boom bubble economy in Japan.
yeah, so Violante was a genetically engineered clone of Godzilla,
Mm,
spliced with genes from a rose and a human.
Yeah, I remember him fighting against like it would just wrap its like vines around him and had like acid in them, I think, and like
Yeah.
thorns were like digging into Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. That fight was brutal. Oh
Epic,
my
man.
goodness.
Godzilla always gets effed up, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So again, cat nightmare beast. I feel like they pushed way too many cats in this set. Why couldn't it just been? Why couldn't this been like a plant nightmare beast?
I don't
Seriously,
know.
it would have been fine, I think, or like a sapling nightmare beast.
I think Plant Nightmare Beast definitely would have been fine if they were thinking of going in that direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I flavor wise, Hobbs and Colors I think is very fitting for Biolante.
Yeah. Like, I feel like some of
Um,
these cards, they ended up kind of designing the magic card first, and then kind of it's like an afterthought, like Violante. But like other
I
ones,
mean that's probably what happened.
like Mothra was insect. That's perfect. You know what I mean?
Right. I think I think you're going to get for as close as possible. Some of them are going to be much better hits than others.
Yeah. As far as flavor or typing, how do you see Violante as an Abzan card?
Uh, I I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, Death Touch Lifelink I think is pretty cool for the monster itself.
Yeah, the death. I think the death touch is probably good. Like I said, they had like acid in the movie and whatnot in the thorns.
Yeah, I mean it Violante was a very destructive
Yeah, but
creature.
it's a plant, kind of. So like,
Yeah, I mean it's really
John,
a plant.
I'd like Jund a little bit more. I think.
Hmm.
I think that would
Jund
have
makes it
worked.
more gives it a more wild
Yeah,
aspect of it.
yeah,
I think black is fine though, just because of how resistant Violante was to being destroyed. Like you can just
yeah.
cut its vines.
And it just came
It,
back, and it kept on bringing back more vines and more vines, right?
yeah, I mean even when Violante left Earth, it just dispersed into spores into space. It didn't. It
Mm,
didn't. It didn't actually die.
I do not remember that part at all. Sorry, I haven't seen it since like I haven't seen it since like '92 probably.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
Should
All
we move
right.
on?
Yeah, moving on. Next one, we have Dorat, the Perfect Pet, which has the counterparts in Sprite Dragon in the MTG universe. It's a fairy
Uh-huh.
dragon, and it's a 1/1 for a red and a red and blue, and it has
Yep.
flying and haste. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's
Yeah,
like
very much an
permanent
is it card.
prowess.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've never heard of this, to be honest.
All right, so Dorat appeared in 1991. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah.
One of the newer King Ghidorah
Um,
movies.
right. So the story behind this was that aliens from the future, in their future, Japan
Mm-hmm.
became a economic superpower.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to travel back in time and left Dorat behind
Mm,
to grow up into King Ghidorah. Yeah, so Dorat is there's three Dorats,
yeah.
and basically they fused together to grow up into King Ghidorah over the course of time.
See, I remember watching that kind of movie where that happened, where like Godzilla was fighting these three monsters, and then oh yeah,
Uh,
he beat him finally, and I think Mothra was in that one too, and then they merged into King Ghidorah. I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting that to happen.
yeah, so Dorat is basically baby King Ghidorah, and I do love how the artist put three Dorats into the artwork. Like
Yeah,
that's a very good attention to
yeah.
detail.
So flavor wise, it's a win.
I think so. It's like
Yeah,
baby Ghidorah just grows up bigger the more magic is exposed to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely like it a lot, and I'm kind of excited actually for constructed with this card as well. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Right.
Next one, your turn, I guess. Batra.
Okay, sure. Ankoku Kaiju Batora. This was a little bit hard to translate. Ankoku means darkness. Hakai is destroy.
Yeah,
And the Ju is the same Ju for Kaiju, like beast.
yeah.
So my rough translation is Dark Destroyer Batra.
Sounds good.
First appears in 1992, Godzilla vs. Mothra. Um, it's basically a black Mothra.
I remember the creature. I remember it. I don't know if I saw this movie though.
Yeah, it's not very I don't think it's
Actually,
very well known.
I did buy this movie. This is like something I got like at Walmart in like the cash register line as like a impulse buy, I think, for like $3 or something.
Yeah, I mean, Walmart has a lot of those nowadays.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
might have been on DVD. I'm
yeah,
not sure, but yeah, I remember this card. So
yeah.
tell
Basically,
us.
Black Mothra.
So tell us about it. What's its ability? What's its
Uh, okay, so it's the Godzilla version of Dirge Bat, which is 2 black 3/3 flash flying.
Mm,
Mutate cost is 4 black, so a little bit costly. But whenever this creature mutates, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls.
mm. Yeah, I mean, I like the ability. I don't like the cost. So this is
I mean,
something.
you can play it as a 4 mana 3/3 flash flyer, and then put another creature on top of it later
Yeah, other
to get the
mutates.
effect.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't pay
Right.
its mutate cost.
I mean, if you do it late, maybe you would, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of flexible in that regard.
Yeah. Something you want to add to it. The more mutate
Yeah.
cards you have, the better it gets.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's not a bad card.
hmm
As far as flavor and typing, you
Uh,
like it?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
think
mean,
it's
Batra was
good.
created by the Earth to fight off humanity because of something they were doing.
They're trying to destroy humanity. You mean?
Right. It was born out of vengeance, so to
Ah.
speak.
No, I like this. I like it as like you said, an antithesis of Mothra.
Yeah.
I think this
and
was
this is
designed
the
well.
right, and this is the third of the Godzilla promo cards to be only printed in Japanese.
Gotcha. So you can only get
Yeah. So this one,
that that art's the only thing you can get in Japanese.
right?
Yeah.
You can't have this art with English text.
It's pretty badass, to be honest. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's
very
very cool.
All right, my turn. Next one. I love it. Baby Godzilla. Baby Godzilla. I love this movie, man. I think everyone's seen this one with like finding the 3 praying mantises. And he's got like the little ring, he's got ring breath. He doesn't have like the full breath because he's not strong enough yet, and he's trying
Yeah,
to
Baby
fight these
Godzilla
insects.
shows up a couple of times
Yeah.
across the movies.
That's when I remember. I remember him from like the 70s. Maybe it was a 70s movie. Maybe it was 80s. Oh yeah, and there was like some old dude in like this little truck with like his son, and his son like was basically like same size as Baby Godzilla. They found him, like walking around the countryside. Sorry, I'm rambling here. And then he becomes super big to fight, the giant monsters. Anyways, it's a 1/3 for 1 and a blue. Poliwag Symbiote is its MTG counterparts. It's a frog creature. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it says each creature spell you cast costs 1 less to cast if it has mutates.
Yep.
And whenever you cast a creature spell, if it has mutate, you get to loot. You get to draw a card and then discard a card.
Correct.
Yeah, I like this. I think it's a good card. I think
It's very cute.
Yeah, well designed. I like you said, frog. I think kind of works for it. It'll mutate to a reptile later on. Maybe. It's already a reptile, but
Yeah, I mean, the fun thing about this ability is that both the regular casting cost and the mutate costs will cost 1 less if Baby Godzilla is on the board.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Space Godzilla, Void Invader, formerly known as Space Godzilla Death Corona.
Yeah.
Ikoria counterpart, Void Beckoner, is huge. 6 black, so 8 mana for an 8/8 with Death Touch. Nightmare Horror. Cycling for 2 in a black, and when you cycle Void Beckoner, put a Death Touch counter on target creature you control. So it's sort of like the black version of the green cycling Godzilla.
Yeah.
Primeval Champion. So it's just sort of the same idea.
Yeah.
Just gives Death Touch instead of Trample.
Yeah. I mean, that 8 mana. Whew.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
if
like
I'd ever...
Death Touch is a strong ability.
Yeah, but 8/8 Death Touch? I'm not too excited about this as a card itself.
Sure.
Yeah, but
I mean, I definitely like the idea of just being able to give a creature Death Touch and having it be a combat trick.
yeah, basically. And the cycling. I mean, I'd use it for cycling most of the time, and late game, if
I
I
mean,
draw, I was like, oh hey, yay, I got this 8/8 as a finisher.
I think that's usually gonna be how it plays out.
As far as typing and flavor, you like this? The death
Uh,
touch?
I mean, it's definitely very scary.
Yeah.
I just finished watching Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla this morning actually,
I've
and
never seen it.
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've
Yeah. So
definitely
it's
gotten better, I think, over the years.
well, I mean, the Space Godzilla, like his name implied, he came from space.
Uh-huh.
The theory is that Godzilla's cells out in space, either because of Mothra or from Biollante,
Uh-huh.
got exposed to space radiation from a black hole, and that mutated the cells to become Space Godzilla.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So the other Space Godzilla here, we have the BioQuartz Space Godzilla.
Yeah, this guy's cool.
This one's cooler, definitely cooler. So this is a soul-type creature. It's 2 black, a green, and a blue. It's a 6/6 trample. It has mutate 2 with the Demir hybrid mana and green. And it says when you cast BioQuartz Space Godzilla or Brokos, Apex of Forever in the MTG world, you may says from your graveyard. You may cast it from your graveyard using its mutate ability.
Yep.
So you can use its ability to put it on top or below something, basically giving something trample. Right.
Right. Yeah, if you want to put it on top, you get him the 6/6 trampler. Put him below, it just gets trample.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's definitely strong.
It's a
name is really cool. BioQuartz, in reference to the crystals on its shoulders and back.
I mean, it's kind of the same as the other one, the other Space Godzilla, right? They both have them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of his defining features.
Yeah.
The crystals.
Yeah.
Like it's really the crystals that give Space Godzilla its abilities.
So how do you feel about this as a Sultai card? Do you like being able to come back from the graveyard as well?
I think it's a little bit looser than some of the other cards.
Okay.
Like Space Godzilla doesn't really come back. But, so like ability wise, it's pretty loose, I think.
Okay.
But as another 5 mana 6/6 like King Ghidorah, I think, yeah, cheap, powerful, and
but the mutate ability I think kind of works though, because like he's a mutation of Godzilla, basically.
Right. Yeah, I think that part's okay.
And it's a huge monster. It creates a huge monster. The cells of him.
Yeah.
Whatever he touches. All right, I think we're down to our last one. So last one.
Destroya, perfect life form.
So Everquill Phoenix is the MTG counterpart. You wanna read it?
Sure. Destroya, or Everquill Phoenix, is a 4 mana 4/4 flyer. Costs 2 red. Whenever this creature mutates, create a red artifact token named Feather with 1 mana, sacrifice Feather. Turn target Phoenix card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
So you just mutate.
And mutate cost is 3 in red.
So you just mutate a crap ton of stuff, make a tons of tokens, then bring all your Phoenix back at one time. And
he'll just keep coming back.
Yeah.
Or if it's just Destroya, he'll just keep coming back.
Yeah, but if you have other Phoenix, you have some kind of Phoenix dredge effect. That would be awesome.
Yeah, you can bring back other Phoenixes as well.
Yeah. So as far as him as a Phoenix, does it work?
So in the 1995 movie Godzilla vs. Destroya, the first one is formed when miniature versions of him combine. In that version, that like mid-sized version, so to speak, is defeated by Godzilla Jr. or maybe Godzilla. But even after being defeated, it revives into an even bigger monster, like bigger than Godzilla big.
Like it sounds familiar. I don't think I ever saw that one. Yeah.
So like it doesn't. So the fifth. I mean, Everquill Phoenix doesn't grow each time it comes back, but just the idea of it being able to come back multiple times.
Yeah.
I think is very on point.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It really works as far as like flavor wise.
Yeah. All
So I think
right.
for the most part they did a good job. I think overall I
Yeah,
kind of enjoy like the designs and the typing and stuff like that.
they definitely did their best to match the monsters to the Ikoria creatures as best they could.
Yeah, yeah. So this brings me to the last part of the show. I wanted to ask you what cards are you most excited about? Like which ones do you want to play with?
Oh,
What do you want to build around? Either for EDH or constructed or casual, whatever.
sure.
Which ones are you most
So
excited about?
for
Like let's say what's
I
your
mean,
top three?
my top three. Let's see. Ghidorah, King of the Cosmos.
Okay, EDH
I have a
card
team
or
EDH. Yeah, I have a teamer deck already that this deck goes perfect, well, fits perfectly and thematically.
okay,
Godzilla, King of the Monsters is just really, really cool. You don't turn down the big dude.
yeah.
You don't turn
So
him down.
so again,
And
is
my
that another EDH card? I'm guessing.
uh yeah, but if I can play him in standard, that'd be really
Hmm.
cool. I would
Okay.
love to play him in standard. And I think for my third pick, uh I think just Baby Godzilla for the collection. He's so cute.
Give him a foil. Yeah, that foil is gonna be nice. Yeah.
How about you? What do you want to play with the most?
So there's a couple. Like I talked a little bit about Spite Dragon. I think Spite Dragon could actually be good in some kind of constructed deck. Maybe like a prowess. Blue red, lots of cantrips and stuff like that. We
Sure,
have
sure.
Blue Red Phoenix was not too bad of a deck. Not too long ago in standard, and it's
Right.
also good in Pioneer. I'm not sure if that could fit in there, but that I think that would be a good card for that. So I'm kind of
Sure, sure.
excited for that. Crystalline Giants, I think would be. I want to play. I want to find out how to play it. To be honest, I want to play four of these. I don't know what kind of deck would want them, but I don't know if this would fit. Like, I don't know if this would be like in a ballista deck or something. In what do you call, Pioneer or whatnot. But I think it's a fun card to build around. It's something I'm going to be
Sure.
working with. And the other card that I'm kind of excited about, I think, is Nethro, Apex of the Dead, the Abzan card, the
Abialante, sure,
Violante.
sure.
Yeah. So I just like the ability to bring back like your entire board. So if you have like a bunch of, two twos or, a mix of
Yeah, I mean,
that.
10 power is a lot to work with. Like, you can bring back like a couple, like a big creature plus a small creature or 10 of small
Yeah.
creatures, and it's just, either way, it's going to be a powerful effect.
Yeah, the mutate is a little heavy. It's 7 mana. But if you could play a couple other cards with mutates here, and then like I kind of like it in Pioneer bringing back, or some kind of like graveyard deck where you put stuff into the graveyard and then mutate it to kind
Bring them
of
all
get those
back.
cards back. You know what
Sure,
I mean?
sure.
It's kind of like Erebos Whip slash Unburial Rights, sort of thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential to be had with Nethroi.
Yeah. So that's it. I
Okay.
think that's what I'm excited about. Well, I think that's gonna do it for our show. So let's end it up. Do you have any shout outs, or do you want to like promote anything?
Uh, I mean,
Anything you want to
I'm really
recommend to
happy.
people? Yeah.
If you have not, I mean, the kaiju movies aren't for everybody, but if it's a chance, definitely check out the 1954 Godzilla movie.
The original.
I think it's, yeah, the very, very first one. I think it has a lot of good points.
Oh,
You know,
I'm in the mood to see all of them now. To be honest.
yeah, so for any listeners, if you're in the USA, all of the Godzilla movies are on Hulu with English subtitles.
Yeah.
Otherwise, check out your local library. Maybe they have the Criterion Collection,
Probably.
where you can see, lots of behind the scenes of
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these monsters. And as far as filmmaking history, kaiju movies, they've contributed a lot, and I think like, that's something to be appreciated.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, I'm gonna close this up then. So that's gonna do it for today's show. We
Yeah,
hope
thank you for having me, Ryan.
yeah, I hope everyone that's listening to us enjoyed listening about today's topic, and hopefully you'll come back next time to learn more about what's going on MTG in Asia and Japan in general. Sorry I haven't really recorded any recent podcasts. With everything going on in the world right now, I got other stuff happening. Hopefully, with all this free time, we can get more people on in the future, though. So look forward to more shows. If you have any comments or suggestions for future shows, you can find me on Twitter at Yoshwenky, which is YOSCHWENKY. Or you can contact me through my website where I will be posting this, www.thejapanhobbyist.com. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, Kevin. Hope to see you again in a future podcast.
Yeah, I'd love to be back.